Let's bring in Congressman Andy Biggs. He's a Republican from Arizona. Congressman, thanks so much for coming on, joining the show today. Attorney General Bill Barr saying there are extremists, including Antifa, fueling the violent riots. That's from the DOJ. Yet across the country, we're seeing calls to dismantle the police, specifically a big headline there in Minneapolis, one of the most major cities here in the United States of America. What do you make of this?
Well, I think it's evident of two Americas. I mean, the response should not be let's disband the police force. The response should be let's bring this under control, stop the rioting, stop the looting, stop the violence, and then we can have a discussion and see where we can increase de-escalation training in police departments, where we can help police officers perform their duties in a way that we don't have this kind of issue in the future. But the reality is, by and large, most police officers are great men and women, and they're doing an important job. But this notion that we should defund, or actually what they want to do in Minneapolis is actually abolish the police force and come up with some other alternative seems totally wrong-headed to me.
Yeah, and some are calling it a knee-jerk reaction. You know, changing policies, that's one thing, but completely dismantling the entire police force there, unprecedented, really. And it's up to city council leaders, which I found fascinating myself in researching this, that these are elected officials that are making a huge decision on behalf of so many men and women there in Minneapolis. Congressman, you're an elected official yourself. I mean, that's got to be tough to see.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, we have a duty, and what that tells me is that they're not listening to the people, because I think by and large, the vast majority of people want the police force. They understand that they're going to protect their rights, and they do a good job. But we as elected officials, we don't have power. We have authority delegated to us from people who have power, and that's the American people. They're the ones with the power to govern this country. And I'm just a caretaker. I've been delegated authority. I'm going to do my best to represent my constituents. This craziness that we're seeing here, where we're going to blame the police for every societal ill, and then now want disbanded, or in LA they're going to take away $150 million in training, or excuse me, of dollars to fund it, when what they really ought to be doing is looking into the data, the facts. And what they really should be doing is, if there's a problem, they should correct it through training. They should provide due process, and they should bring people who are bad actors to bear. That's the way you resolve some of these issues.
Congressman, switching gears with you, you recently wrote an editorial entitled, "The CDC has lost all credibility." Can you explain, as we show the viewers this on the screen, why did you write that?
Well, in my observation, the CDC now actually is in contrast with the World Health Organization. The CDC based all of their policies on faulty information. They acknowledged that the models were unreliable, but they continue to advocate for positions consistent with those models. So, for instance, the World Health Organization says only those who are sick or vulnerable should be wearing masks. The CDC basically has said we should wear masks all the time, everybody. And that is actually contrary to what all the studies indicate. The University of Minnesota actually put out a study. So we see absolutely contrary evidence between medical science and data that CDC is advocating. And Dr. Fauci himself said that he wears a mask as a symbol. It isn't necessary, it's a symbol. And these types of things that we see are not based on sound science or data. They're based on political responses.
Well, I mean, you're seeing the contradiction. I mean, you can't ignore it. You turn on the television, you see thousands of people outside. We were told last week, don't go outside. So a lot of the things are out of the window at this point. Before you go, I want to ask you about your upcoming trip to the U.S.-Mexico border. What can you tell me about that?
Well, a lot of people have forgotten about the border and the problems that we have. We still have an enormous amount of people coming across the border every day illegally into the United States. Perhaps some of them have the virus, don't know. So we're going down. I'm taking a congressional delegation down. We have, I think it's 7 members of Congress this time. It's my 5th or 6th trip since I've been in Congress. Folks need to see the border. It's big, it's vast, it's wide open. We're getting some new fencing in thanks to President Trump, but the reality is we still have a problem. We have to enforce our laws.
It is Congressman Andy Biggs, live for us this morning on your Friday. Congressman, thank you so much. We appreciate your time. You stay safe, sir.
Thank you.